everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be getting into forearm muscles because it can get incredibly overwhelming and confusing very quickly. This is because the forearm handles movements of the fingers, supination, pronation, turning the wrist up, down, sideways, etc. So it has all these strings of muscles going all over the place and you can't tell what's what. The first step to simplify the complication is to reduce. Reduce the number of muscles to groups and find the common shape of that group. I actually haven't touched the forearm muscles in a long time, so here I am again trying to remember how many groups and shapes there are, so let's study together. By the way, I'm taking most of this study from the Proco forearm video, I'll link in the description, Michael Hampton's Design and Invention book, Inner Body 3D Model, and a little bit of Atlas of Human Anatomy for the artist. Let's get into it. The first group are the ridge muscles. I think they're called that because they're on the edge of the outside of the arm. I don't really know. But this group has two muscles, the brachioradialis and the extensors carpi radialis longus. I may have cut the name shorter because I didn't want to write all that, but these help with supination and pronation. The second group is the extensors. They lift the hand up and help handle finger movements. The second group is the flexors. These do the opposite of the extensors. These pull the wrist down and I believe also help with finger movements. Now we know that there are three groups. Let's see where they connect and what basic shapes they have to keep you from just throwing down lines and hoping for the best. Alright, to get started, I'm drawing an arm and upper muscles. I'm just gonna snap those into existence real quick. The ridge muscles are by far the easiest and funnest muscle for you to remember and draw. From the side, you can see they tuck in between the brachialis and the triceps, wrap around the side of the arm, and lay on the palm side of your forearm. They then connect to the thumb, so keep that landmark in mind, and it might save you from confusing twists and turns. I'm making sure to draw it from all the angles to understand better. Oh, quick thing here, by the way, I drew the ridge muscles wrong in the leftmost arm. I'll fix that later in the recording. The forearm muscles are asymmetrical. It goes from the apex of the ridge muscles to the apex of the flexors in a diagonal slanted towards the chest. The ridge muscles are the highest of that shape. Avoid perfectly symmetrical forearms. Overall, the ridge muscles have this kind of shape, like an S snaking around from the side to the front. Next on the muscle group are extensors. Think bullet-shaped. I learned this from Proco and it stuck with me. The tip of the bullet sits right next to the ridge muscles, tucking tight to the outside side of the elbow. Then they stretch outwards towards the wrist. Key note with their placement, if you deconstruct the arm into a box, the extensors cover the top plane of the forearm where the top of your hand is. Now that we have the basic boundary shape, we can talk about the muscles inside it. There are 6 muscles of these stringy guys, and I'm going to take the chance to talk about proportion and art real quick. If you divide the bullet shape into even strips, it becomes monotonous and boring, apart from it also being not how the muscles are shaped. But if you break it up into different sizes, i.e. make uneven proportions, your brain loves the difference and finds it pleasing. How Proco shows it is to break it into 3 shapes, the middle part being the biggest. Then on the left, insert a tinier, thinner strip between them. This is the pinky muscle called the extensor digitorum minimi. Thought that was funny. The rightmost muscle strip will be split in half as the thumb muscles go over it to connect to the thumb. Start with a bullet shape and this will be a lot easier to draw. Here I am just drawing it from the side view because you should still be able to see the top plane a bit. Next up, flexors. As Proco stated himself in his forearm video, the flexors, which are made up of individual staffs of muscles, similar to the extensors, the only exception is that they're all clumped together in one shape. So, from the front, when the hand is supinated, you can just simplify it to an ellipse. Remember that asymmetry and put it a little lower down the arm than the brachioradialis. Flexors form the lower half of that diagonal line. But it doesn't just sit on the front. It wraps around a little bit to the side so you can see it from the back touching the bullet extensors. Another thing to remember, the ulna or pinky side of the arm is superficial. The extensors and flexors go up against it and sometimes overlap a little over it in the middle, but you can still see the bone. This bone shows up in a line from the elbow to the bony protrusion on your wrist. Another quick tip, The biceps have a tendon at the end that wraps around the flexors, so you can see this as a dimple on your skin sometimes. Proko said it's mostly when the arms are flexed, supinated, and bent at the elbow, so it's not something that you see all the time, and I hardly ever draw it. Now that we've learned the three groups, their shapes, and their placements, I'm going to pull up Proko's anatomy reference timer on the Proko website, focusing specifically on the arm. Most of the time, you can see the lower arm has a shape of fleshier and softer at the top, and then boxier at the wrist. Most of the time, I just focus on the ridge muscles and show a little bit of the extensors. When it comes to the front, there is really only the flexors and the ridge muscles, forming a small V-like shape on the inside of the elbow. If I were to dissect this arm here, the ridge muscles are wrapping around the thumb, and the flexors are peeking out the side. The hand is stretched, and the lady I'm referencing here has like softer skin, so you're unlikely to see the extensors work in this angle. Once again, brachialis coming from behind the triceps, wrapping around, and some extensors working. Real quick, before I wrap this up, I forgot to mention pronation and supination and how the muscles play into that. Supination is palms facing up, and pronation is them facing down. One thing I learned from Proko to remember this is, as he said, if it's supinated, you can hold a bowl of soup. If it's pronated, and it spills all over the floor, you have a problem. I thought that was really funny. It's a goofy little thing that keeps it in your head, so I thought it would help. As it rotates, you just want to keep in mind where the connection points and landmarks are, so you can accurately represent the twisting and wrapping of the muscles. Alright, now that we're at the end, I hope this helps make the forearm less insane. If you liked this, consider coming over to my channel and subscribing. I make videos like this where I try to teach what I've learned through all my studies. Until next time, see you later, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.